Good morning, friends. Grace and I hope you're having a great day out there in your gardens. It's been a great morning here at North Lawn. The Lisianthus are finally starting to bloom and we're ready to set up the flower stand this morning. My main goal for this particular flower stand is to see what color Lisianthus my customers like the best. What color do they buy first? What color do they buy second, third, fourth, fifth? Or what color do they not buy at all? That way I know exactly what plugs to bring in next year. This year, I specifically grew some odd off colors that are usually in demand by florists, but not necessarily in demand at a flower stand. But I want to give them a try because I love those funky, muted colors, and I want to see if they sell. The one that I'm most curious about is a brown Lisianthus called Roseanne 3. I adore these muted brown blooms. I mean, they are brown, but there's also maroon, tan, and even green within the petals. The back of the petals is just as glorious as the front. So in order to really tell exactly what my customers want, I'm just going to do single color bouquets at the flower stand. So that's my first kind of funky color. The next one I want to try is also part of the Roseanne series, and this one is called Black Pearl. It's this beautiful, deep eggplant Lisianthus. We've got all kinds of purples on the petals. Eggplant, black towards the center, brownish purple towards the edges. It's probably better to show you versus try to tell you. So these were my two trial by fire Lisianthus. And then I'm just doing some Celeb, Celeb 2, and Voyage series Lisianthus in normal colors. We've got some yellows, some pinks, lavender, and a beautiful deep purple. My guess is that the purples sell first, then the pink, then the yellow, and then maybe the brown. But let's go ahead and get these out to the flower stand and see what our customers prefer. Actually, let's do a fun experiment together. Before you watch the rest of this video and see what happens during the course of me selling these Lisianthus, would you please put what color you would buy at the flower stand and what color you definitely wouldn't buy? That's going to be just as helpful as seeing what sells in my particular area. I want this video to be as helpful as possible. I'm bringing in Lisianthus plugs. I'm not buying them from seed, so I'm already in the Lisianthus hole a few $100s. So I really need to sell as many as possible to make a decent profit. Okay, now let's get set up for the day. I think the black pearl is kind of getting lost in the background, but hopefully the light will start to shine over here and you'll be able to see it. The brown one I put down below. So let's see what sells first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. My hope is they just all sell. Now that we've got the flower stand set up for the day, I want to go ahead and plant some white Nite sunflowers for fall. I've poo-pooed the white Nite sunflowers in the past, but once I clear this bed and prep it, I'll tell you my thought process on trying it again later in the season. Oh, here comes Grace. The first thing we need to do is clear out most of this bed. I just have old snapdragons, some old forget-me-nots in here. I'm gonna clear out 3/4 of the bed, but I'm gonna leave these 2 front trellises present. The reason why I'm leaving these 2 trellises is because on the other side of the garden library, I have a limelight hydrangea that's about 9 feet tall. And so I want to try to have some height in this bed while those sunflowers get established and get some height on them. If I get rid of all this trellising, I'm concerned that the balance is just going to look really off. So let's just go ahead and cut this bamboo support up top. We can pull up all these bamboo canes and store them in the garage so that we can use them next year. I bought these bamboo canes on Amazon, I think 2 or 3 years ago. I kind of hate paying for bamboo because you just see it growing all over the place on the side of the road. I used to know someone that had a garden with bamboo, but we don't live near them anymore. Ever since I started growing cut flowers, when it came to planting sunflowers for the fall, I always planted dark colored sunflowers. But what I've noticed throughout the years is that generally speaking, dark colored flowers at a flower stand don't sell very well for me. I think this is primarily because you just can't really see them inside the flower stand. So instead of growing a chocolate sunflower or a red sunflower or a rust sunflower for the fall, I'm actually going to grow a bright white Nite sunflower and see if that goes any better. When I first started growing flowers for cutting, I grew all the different colored sunflowers, and in the spring, I used to try to grow white light and white Nite. But without fail, when they would bloom in early June, because I planted them out as soon as possible, they would all get this really strange looking worm. It kind of looked like, you know, that worm that gets to corn plants and really messes them up. I don't know exactly what it was, but it would deform the petals and basically render them unsellable. After seeing this worm, or whatever bug it was, take out the blooms of those white colored sunflowers year on and year out, I decided just not to grow that color anymore. But then I started thinking, what if that particular bug, worm, whatever it is, primarily hits sunflowers in early to midsummer? What if that bug's life cycle doesn't take place during the fall? Not knowing exactly what the bug is and not having taken a picture of it, I'm not really sure if it's present in the fall, but I'm gonna experiment with this, see if I can get the white Nite and white light sunflowers to bloom in the fall, and see if that worm, whatever it may be, is still around come September. And if you are wondering, yes, I've only been back out here 1 minute and I'm already drenched in sweat. Now that we've got this bed cleared, let's go ahead and make little trenches about a 1/2 inch deep every 6 inches. I want these sunflowers planted 6 inches apart, and if I create these little troughs right from the get-go, it'll help seeding go quicker. White Nite is a pro-cut sunflower. Pro-cut sunflowers are single stem sunflowers that don't produce any pollen at all. So they're really great as cut flowers because they don't shed pollen on people's tables or tablecloths, and they come to maturity really quickly. White Nite comes to maturity in just 60 days. So we should have these blooming in mid-September. Might not even need a watering can today. Might be able to water these in with my sweat. Let's walk down the main flower walk together real quick and see if the scale looks okay, leaving just those two teepee trellises. All right, I think that looks okay. The scale to me is still a little bit off. Probably should have left maybe 3 or 4 of those teepees, but live and learn. And once those sunflowers start growing and get to be 6 feet tall, then I don't think that these two sides will be in such conflict with one another. It's currently 7 p.m. on Sunday night. We've had 2 days at the flower stand, and as expected, the light pink and light purple went immediately. Maybe I jinxed it, or maybe I was secretly hoping that this particular bouquet wouldn't sell so I could play with some of these beautiful blooms. But if you guessed that the brown Lisianthus didn't sell, you would be 100% correct. So of course I couldn't let this gorgeous Lisianthus go to waste. After dinner I picked some oak leaf hydrangeas, a stilbe, and arranged those in an old clay jar that I have. And then I stuck in all of these beautiful brown Lisianthus. I had also picked some straw flower and some yarrow and kept trying to work those into the design, but it just seemed to be throwing the color palette off. It seemed like this brown design just wanted to be shades of muted brown with hints of lime and maroon, and I thought the Gatsby Gal oak leaf hydrangea was the perfect backdrop for these gorgeous Roseanne 3 brown Lisianthus. Let me know what you think. Well friends, I want to wish you a wonderful day out there in your gardens, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye!